Hello and welcome back. I'm quite sure that all of you are keeping a keen eye on the developments that are occurring in the West Asian region. On 28 February 2026, Israel launched an attack on Iran. They struck missiles in Tehran. It was said that missiles were launched on the palace of Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, Supreme Leader of Iran, and on his offices as well. The very next day, on 1st March 2026, it was announced that Ayatollah Ali Khamenei is dead. The Iranian media also confirmed the death of their supreme leader. I hope you remember this discussion, Khamenei dead and who next. In this particular lecture, I discussed with you what is the procedure of electing the Iranian supreme leader, that is the next supreme leader, and we also discussed certain names. Let me give you a quick recap of what we discussed. I told you that under the Iranian constitution, article 107 and 111, the responsibility of selecting a new supreme leader would fall on the assembly of experts, which will have 88 members, and these members are predominantly from the Shia clerical bodies or Shia clerics. These are predominant Shia clerics. They shall be responsible for selecting and appointing the new supreme leader. After the death of Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, we discussed about three possible names. I told you that Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian is there. There is current Judiciary Chief Ghulam Hussein Mohseni Ijai. Again, these are currently the part of temporary leadership, but three names who could possibly become the supreme leader. One was Mojtaba Khamenei, son of Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. The next one was Ayatollah Ali Reza Arafi. And the third one was Hojat ul Islam Mohsen Qaumi. And now the suspense is over. The Assembly of Experts, the clerical body, the top clerical body of Iran, has selected son of Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, Mojtaba Khamenei, as the next supreme leader of Iran. In this video lecture, we'll understand what can we expect in future, what shall be the policies, or what policies can Mojtaba Khamenei follow. First, let's try to understand why this has been a very unprecedented development. Mojtaba Khamenei was born in 1969 and he is the second son of Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. Ayatollah, the former supreme leader, has 4 sons and 2 daughters. One of the daughters died in the attack, daughter and a son-in-law and a granddaughter as well. Among the 4 sons, the second son is chosen now as a supreme leader. The other 3 sons are not very politically active. In fact, Mojtaba Khamenei was also known as Shadow Prince, especially since last decade or so. His clout grew as a cleric and he was considered very close to his father Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. But this development is quite unprecedented. Do you know why? Now, if we look at Iran and its revolution, what happened in 1979, after that revolution, the first leader, the first supreme leader was Ruhollah Khamenei. He ruled for 10 years and after that, a mid-level cleric, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, was selected, not a relative of Ruhollah. For the first time in Iranian history, post the revolution of 1979, a succession is taking place where a family member is now going to be a supreme leader. Will there be any opposition to this from the other so-called high-level clerics in Iran? We'll see in future. But this is an unprecedented development that the son of a supreme leader has been chosen as the next successor. Iran does not have that kind of inheritance lines or that kind of succession based on that inheritance, but for the first time it has happened, and he has been chosen. Mojtaba has been chosen by the Assembly of Experts. Now let's learn a little bit about Mojtaba and try to understand what could be his policies or what future holds for Iran and what future holds for the entire global politics. Now, Mojtaba Hosseini Khamenei was born on 8 September 1969, again in Mashhad. Ayatollah was also born here only. In his early childhood, he mostly spent his days in northwestern Iran before studying theology from his father and other clerics like Muhammad Taqi Misbah Yazdi in Qom. Mojtaba slowly and steadily entered into the politics or entered into the public life. First, he served as IRGC. He served in the IRGC, Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, near the end of 1980-88. That is during the Iran-Iraq war. And since then, he has slowly and steadily built good military ties and gained notoriety for alleged roles in suppression of the elections. Why? Because under the IRGC, it is said that he has very close control over the Basij. Now, IRGC itself has different wings, and Basij is one kind of a radical wing under the IRGC, which mainly has young populace or young people in that militia, and it is said that Mojtaba holds good control over Basij. Also, he has close ties with IRGC commanders. Mojtaba married to Zahra Haddad Adel in 2004, and in 2019, US has imposed sanctions on him because he was considered as proxy to his father, and he was acting as his father's de facto since almost 2018-2019 as a security coordinator. That is why Mojtaba was called Shadow Prince. Why? Because he was very closely aligned at the top leadership, or closely linked to the top leadership. It was said that Mojtaba was responsible for the big IRGC appointments. He was also responsible for intelligence, the top intelligence appointment of top intelligence commanders, and a hardliner, and he has developed a hardliner network for decades together. As I told you, he controls good amount he has a good control over IRGC and also Basij. Basij was created by the first supreme leader, Ruhollah Khamenei, where he said that we need young population to join this militia, and in Basij, generally people who are within the age of 18 to 40, 45, they are only allowed in the Basij militia. So that means that will have quite clout with respect to keeping control over Iranian forces or Iranian militia, I can say. Now, what can we expect from Mojtaba? When we talk about domestic policies, Mojtaba has very good control over IRGC and Basij, as I told you, and he will likely strengthen his control. And if there is any sort of protest, he would crack down on that protest, dissent, etc., and he would not allow any sort of reforms, because as I told you, for first time in Iranian history, something unprecedented has happened, where the succession has gone to a son. So people might question his legitimacy, and if anybody challenges his legitimacy, he might go for intense crackdowns. Economically, things are going to continue as they had been with Ayatollah. In fact, the IRGC and its conglomerates are likely to retain more and more control over different sectors. Already they control different sectors because Iran is riddled with sanctions from different countries, and one can expect the same thing to continue, rather more ferociously now. Why? Because IRGC, the close commanders to IRGC, they would like to retain more control over these sectors, and possibly there can be some minor changes. Now, this can be expected, some sort of generational shift, like from father to son. Whenever the power shifts from father to son will have some likely changes where he might get rid of some of the loyalists close to his father and bring some loyalists close to him. So some technocratic changes can be expected, especially at the domestic level and economic level, but liberalization is quite unlikely. Okay, you cannot expect liberalization as of now. But the most important thing is, what is likely to be his foreign and military policy? We can say he is going to continue more or less on his father's lines. Now, there is likelihood that he would accelerate support to the axis of resistance. Axis of resistance means the proxies that Iran has been harboring for years now: Hezbollah, Houthis, Hamas, Iraqi militia. So the axis of resistance is probably going to get more and more support from Iran under Mojtaba. There is unlikelihood of the revival of the JCPOA, which was signed in 2015, but we can expect the nuclear program to accelerate under Mojtaba, possibly for some sort of greater negotiation in future. Okay, so there might be acceleration of nuclear program. He already has pragmatic ties, especially with the other great powers, that is Russia and China. There is already good amount of trade that runs, especially arms and oil barter. They happen with these countries, and there is likelihood that it will strengthen under Mojtaba. Right now, Iran is retaliating for the killing of their supreme leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, and that retaliation might continue, and we can see probably in future Mojtaba asking or seeking some sort of assistance even from these players, Russia and China, maybe to have a better bargaining chip at the negotiation table, probably in the upcoming weeks or months. Hardliner stance on Iran is going to continue because, again, Mojtaba also has a hardliner stance very similar to his father, and that stance is going to continue. While we can see that there can be managed rivalry, especially with the Gulf states, especially with Saudi, I would say. So the rivalry is going to be managed because you do understand there are two fault lines, that is Islam versus Jews one, and Shia versus Sunni, and Mojtaba might continue that legacy of hardliner stance of Iran, and we might see we might see that at a more higher level in comparison to his father. If you have a doubt, sir, what exactly can we expect with respect to India? There has been negligible or a very, very less kind of personal engagement between Mojtaba and India. So what can we expect is he might follow a similar kind of policy which his father followed with India, that is pragmatism. One can expect relations under him to be very similar to Ayatollah, that is pragmatic strategic pattern, emphasis on connectivity, emphasis on energy. Chabahar port, a lot of investment has been done by India, so we might see some sort of revival here. And the focus would be on energy connectivity along with the multilateral cooperation at BRICS and other fora. But we cannot expect a drastic kind of a change. Most likely that things will continue. But a very, very important thing for Indians to observe here is whether he will align with his father's views, especially with respect to anti-India rhetoric on the Kashmir issue. Ayatollah had strong views over this, and Mujtaba might have similar kind of views, especially looking at how his succession has taken place, where if the hardliners if the hardliners in the council that is advising him, or if the Shia clerical leaders who are there at the top position, if they go for a hardliner stance towards India, especially because of Modi's Israel alignment, we might expect a more stronger rhetoric from Iran over Kashmir, possibly in the upcoming months. Let's keep a keen eye on this. But now we can see that the succession news has come. The retaliation is going on. War might continue for a few days, few weeks, probably a couple of months. But negotiation is also on the cards in the upcoming days. We can expect that. So let's wait and watch what exactly is going to happen in this Iran versus US-Israel war. If there are any developments on this, we'll keep a keen eye on that. With that note, let me conclude my discussion. If you have any queries, any doubts, please reach out to me. You have my number. My number is 8881222262. You can directly give a text on this particular number, or if you are preparing for UPSC Civil Service examination, do join this Telegram channel. You will get all the updates of my video. Thank you very much for watching this. Jai Hind.